The anime opens up with a knight driving his sword straight through the chest of a dragon. This ancient creature calmly accepts its end, reflecting on how long it has existed in the world. It questions the reason behind humanity's hatred, wondering why they seek its death despite never interfering with them. As its consciousness begins to fade, a light appears at the end of its path. When it regains awareness, it finds itself surrounded by several individuals who claim to be its parents, revealing that it has been reborn as a human. This is where we are introduced to the main character, Dolan. Years later, Dolan is seen admiring the scenery of the village where he grew up. Suddenly, a girl approaches him, and we soon learn her name is Ari. From the way he acts, it's obvious that she holds a special place in his heart. Dolan then explains that their home, Bellum, is a small village located on the northern edge of the kingdom of Archrist. Since agriculture is the only source of livelihood there, he has no choice but to work every day just to survive. He also explains that in this world, a person is considered an adult at the age of 15, and once they reach that age, they are expected to leave their home and live independently. Having already turned 16, Dolan is now part of that stage in life. Not long after, he is seen fishing alongside his older brother Dylan. During their conversation, Dolan mentions that he plans to head to the swamp to investigate why the lizards have suddenly disappeared. Dylan immediately offers to accompany him, but Dolan declines, insisting on handling it by himself. A few hours later, Dolan is preparing his fish to cook while explaining something important about the village. He mentions that there are many monsters and bandits around Verum. Also, since it is not really a city, there are no guards to protect them, so each villager is responsible for defending the village. Dolan's thoughts are interrupted when Ari arrives, reminding him that today they will train magic. As he had promised, they immediately go outside, and we see Dolan cast a wind spell at a target. After doing so, Ari is amazed, and an elderly woman present named Mu congratulates him, saying that his magic is still very exceptional. Dolan thanks the old woman, as she was the one who taught him that attack. In the end, Mogul mentions that she will stay to train Dolan's healing magic. After a few hours, the village chief introduces a girl to Dolan, whose name is Christina. He tells Dolan that she will be staying in the village for a while and that he should behave well with her, since she belongs to the nobility. After introducing themselves to each other, the old man and the girl leave, and Dolan feels that she is very skilled. A little later, Dolan arrives at his parents' house and is greeted by his younger brother named Marco. We are also introduced to his mother Arsina and his father Goran. They tell Dolan that living alone can be very difficult, so they encourage him to find a wife just like his brother Dylan did. In the end, Dolan tells his parents that he will go to the swamp, and although they are a bit worried, they ask him to please return safe and sound. The next day, Dolan says goodbye to the villagers, and we get to know several of them. First, we meet a soldier named Barang, as well as a girl named Marita. Both tell Dolan that they will go instead, but he insists that he will handle it himself. However, a girl named Letitia gives him a blessing so that he will be protected. Finally, Mughal arrives with Adi and tells him to be very careful. As she has a bad feeling, after receiving some food, Dolan says goodbye to everyone and leaves the village. As Dolan walks toward the swamp, he explains that the lizards used to come near the village. However, they suddenly disappeared, and after several hours of walking, Dolan finally arrives at the swamp. There, he uses magic to investigate the area and realizes that the water magic has weakened. His thoughts are interrupted when he hears a noise nearby, so he immediately prepares to fight. Soon, a lamia girl appears and introduces herself as Selena. A lamia is a term used for a creature that is half human and half beast, as the girl has the lower half of her body shaped like a snake. At that moment, Dolan thinks that she is very beautiful and wonders if she lives in the swamp. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted when a large earth elemental attacks Selena. Dolan manages to defend her in time, and they immediately hide. Right after that, Dolan explains that lizards used to live in the swamp, but now that there is an earth elemental, he believes that is the reason they disappeared. He then suddenly asks her if she can use magic, since he has heard that lamias are capable of it. He also asks if she wants to fight alongside him against the monster. Selena becomes very nervous and says that her magic is earth-based, so she knows it would not affect the monster. However, she explains that lamias possess a special ability that can affect it. Dolan asks her to support him, and she agrees, saying she will stand by his side through good and bad, as if they were husband and wife until death separates them. After that, both of them prepare to fight, and we see Selena cast a powerful spell in the form of a giant snake. It wraps around the elemental, and Dolan takes the opportunity to use his dragon magic, imbuing it into his sword and defeating the monster with a single strike. Afterward, Dolan thanks her and says they should clean themselves since they are covered in mud. A few hours later, Dolan prepares dinner and talks with Selena about her life. She mentions that she is 17 years old, and in her race it is customary to leave home at that age to search for a husband, which is why she is far from her village. Dolan says that she is very different from the other lamias he has met before, since the ones he encountered in the past were more aggressive toward him. Then, Selena explains that the lamia race came to be because a human woman was cursed, and since then they have had snake-like bodies and fluids that contain poison. She also mentions that they usually only have female children and that male births are very rare. These children take the form and race of the father. Because of the poison she carries, they must find a husband who is very strong and able to withstand it, since if she kisses or tries to have children with an ordinary human, he would die from her poison. Selena adds that her mother met her father during a journey just like her, and mentions that he is a human just like Dolan. Dolan looks at her and tells her that she looks very adorable. These words make the girl blush deeply. After that, they begin talking about how happy Dolan looks when he speaks about his family. Dolan thinks that she is right, since in his previous life he was a lonely dragon who lived in a cave. The next day, they say goodbye, and Dolan thinks about giving her a bit of his life energy, since he had heard that Lamias liked that very much. When he does it, the girl suddenly collapses, and Dolan wonders if a dragon's energy is too much for her. After exchanging a few final words, they part ways. A few hours later, some adventurers come across Selena. However, she happily greets them, but when they realize she is a lamia, they run away in fear. Back with Dolan, he is seen practicing how to create magic potions with Moogle. Moogle mentions that these tasks require a lot of precision, which Dolan still struggles with. Suddenly, Irie tells Dolan that he looks very handsome, blushing as she says it. Dolan thanks her and admits that he still needs to improve a lot. Moogle then tells Ari that her potion turned out perfectly, so she can go play if she wants. Ari says that she will go see her mother. Moogle and Dolan continue talking, and Dolan reflects that in his previous life, he never had to worry about healing. The old woman explains that while his wind magic is at a very high level, he still has not fully understood how magical medicine works. Dolan apologizes, but she reassures him that he will improve over time. A little later, they go to Ari's family house as they were invited for lunch. After finishing the meal, Dolan quickly leaves because he had something to finish and had stayed too long. On the way, he passes by a girl named Mew, who offers him some milk, since she is half cow. Yes, beast people in this world are quite unusual. Dolan says he is in a hurry, but he cannot resist and accepts the milk before continuing on his way. He then arrives where a man named Albert is training several boys with a spear. Suddenly, Dolan senses the presence of a monster in the forest, so that night he goes to investigate. As he walks toward the location, Dolan feels that the presence seems very familiar. When he arrives, he is shocked to see that it is actually Selena, who is taking a bath. The girl becomes very nervous and accidentally drops the hot water she was using. Dolan falls onto her, and she becomes even more flustered, especially since Dolan cannot stop looking at her. Dolan tells her that she looks very beautiful, but she feels very embarrassed because she is naked. But Dolan, acting like a confident alpha, says that he enjoys admiring how beautiful she is. Since she cannot get him to close his eyes, she ends up giving him a strong slap. Dolan then asks if she was heading south, and she confirms it, but explains that along the way everyone ran away when they saw her, so she returned to the village to talk to him. Dolan starts thinking about how he could help her feel better, and then tells her that she could come live with him. She is shocked, and immediately asks how he plans to make people stop being afraid of her, since she is literally a monster. However, Dolan tells her not to worry, because there are already several demi-humans in the village, like Mew. He adds that they will figure something out so she can be accepted there. Selena then says that the real reason she came back to him is so he could share more of his life energy with her, since it left her completely overwhelmed. Dolan gives her a bit more and mentions that once they live together, she can take as much as she wants. In the next scene, several days have passed, and the villagers are a bit worried because they have found several animals left as offerings. They realize that it was a lamia. They wonder why a creature like that would leave its prey as offerings. Barong immediately says they should form a group to exterminate it, but another man tells him to calm down, since they are the few knights protecting the village, so they should request reinforcements from the capital. However, Mughal interrupts and tells them to stop jumping to conclusions, since if the lamia has been leaving offerings, there must be a reason. Right then, the village council is interrupted when Ari arrives carrying an object. We also learn that Mughal is Ari's grandmother and a clairvoyant. She reads the object Ari brought and says that the appearance of a snake is a symbol of good fortune, clearly referring to Selena. She tells everyone that they should wait and see what happens. Dolan, feeling happy, says that it is time to move to the final phase. He then speaks with Selena and tells her that their plan has been a success so far, but now they must proceed with the last part. At that moment, we are not told what exactly they are going to do. The next day, all the important people in the village gather and discuss that they must be careful with the lamia. We also learn that the group is made up of Captain Baran and Vice Captain Merida. It is also mentioned that the priestess of the goddess Miral is present, whom we previously met as Letitia. Dolan thinks that Letitia might say that Selena has bad intentions, so he hopes the plan goes as they discussed. We can also see that Selena is watching them, very scared, and wonders if she should save Dolan. At that moment, we are shown their conversation from the previous night. Dolan had planned that they would train in the land of the poisonous rabbits, so he told her that he would intentionally enter their burrow so that she could come and save him. Back in the present, the group is suddenly interrupted when a knight arrives in panic, saying that the creature has appeared. Dolan, feeling very nervous, wonders if they will end up killing the lamia, since he still has not given Selena any signal. Right after that, a large armored bear appears in front of them. Barang warns everyone not to attack it, as it could defeat them with a single blow. Everyone immediately runs away, but one of the children trips. At that moment, Dolan rushes forward to save the child and thinks that if he does not use his dragon powers, he could take serious damage. Meanwhile, Selena also steps in to take the bear's attack. Everyone is shocked, as they never expected a lamia to save the boy. We then see Selena use her cursed eyes to command the bear to return to the forest, and the creature obeys instantly and leaves. Barang immediately calls out and says they must eliminate Selena, but Dolan steps in front of her and says that he was taught not to attack those who help him. Selena then pleads with them to let her live in the village, explaining that living alone and wandering around is very sad. The villagers begin to reflect, and suddenly Letitia receives a divine message from the goddess. The message says that Selena stands before them without any evil, that she is a child of nature just like them, and that they should live in harmony. Letitia kindly approaches Selena and tells her she has nothing to worry about, but Selena suddenly faints due to the injury the bear caused her. After several hours, once she is healed, they take her to a house that was prepared for her. Selena is completely delighted as she did not expect to be welcomed like this. Baran apologizes to her for threatening her earlier and thanks her for saving his son. In the end, Dolan officially welcomes her, and everyone is very happy. Afterward, everyone gives her a warm welcome. Dolan reflects on the favor he now owes to the goddess Miral. That night, while lying in bed, Dolan takes on his ancestral form. He rises into the clouds and enters the realm of the gods. There he meets Mirale, and we learn that they have known each other for a long time. Dolan thanks her for sending the message through Letitia. He also says that he finds it incredible that his presence in this new world was discovered. Miral tells him that she noticed it from the very beginning because his joy in this new life was too great. She adds that compared to his previous life, she can see a different kind of light in him. After a long conversation, Dolan returns to his human form. The next morning arrives, and Selena enters very excited. She tells him that he looks very happy today, and he replies that he dreamed of a very old friend without revealing that he is an ancient dragon who can visit the realm of the gods. Selena, still excited, reminds him not to forget his promise to take her and Christina to plant potatoes. In the next scene, we are taken to the royal capital of the kingdom. A girl delivers a letter to a woman named Olivia, who is the director of the Magic Academy. The letter is from Christina, and in it she mentions that she has been warmly welcomed in Verum, which reflects the village's customs of farming and constant training. Back in the village, Christina is seen training with Merida, and they begin to fight seriously. Christina manages to defeat her, which leads Merida to congratulate her for her great swordsmanship and praise her skills. Soon after, Barang appears and invites her to have dinner with them, so from that moment on, Christina begins to feel at home. Later that night, Christina is seen training alone when Dolan and Selena arrive. She looks a bit sad, but Selena quickly takes her hand and invites her to her house. Once there, Selena tells her to try a bed specially made for lamias. Christina does so and says that it is very comfortable. Selena also tells her that at first she was afraid of how the villagers would treat her, but she has felt a lot of warmth from them. The next day, the group is seen drinking milk from Mew. We also learn that she is Barong's wife. He starts challenging everyone to see who can drink more of his wife's milk, which sounds quite strange. Then Selena and Christina arrive and say they came to try it as well. Mew quickly brings a jug, and Christina is amazed by how delicious it is. Barong notices that Christina is a very strong drinker and asks if she can drink more than him. They immediately start a contest to see who can drink more milk, and after a while, Christina wins. Shortly after, Dolan tells her that she should not push herself too much if she does not want to, but she says everything is fine. Then Mew appears with her daughter and asks Christina to try her milk as well. After tasting it, Christina is amazed by its flavor, which makes the girl very happy. Meanwhile, Olivia finishes reading the letter and feels very excited knowing that Christina is happy with the way she was welcomed. A few hours later, a meeting takes place at the Magic Academy, and rumors about Christina spread quickly as Olivia apparently shared the information that she befriended a lamia. Soon after, a girl named Kieran asks Olivia to tell her more about the lamia who is Christina's friend. Olivia asks why she is so interested if she is a mage and a government general. Kieran responds that they cannot ignore something that could become a potential enemy. She also says that humans should not live alongside dangerous monsters like Selena, and that they must be prepared for any possible threat. Then, a man appears claiming to be responsible for the jurisdiction of Verum's lands, and says he will take action as soon as possible. In the next scene, Dolan and Selena are planting potatoes when a knight suddenly arrives and tells them to go to the village gate. When they arrive, we meet the man from before, whose name is Goda, the commissioner of the northern border. He asks Dolan if he is the one who brought Selena into the kingdom's lands. Dolan confirms it, but another priestess tells Goda that Morali has already said that Selena is not dangerous. Despite the goddess's words, Goda states that he must eliminate any threat to security, so he decides that Selena must be taken to his general first to verify whether she is truly not dangerous. In the end, Goda says that even if the goddess has spoken, if Selena wants to live in Verum, she must follow the laws of the kingdom, so she has no choice but to go with them. However, Dolan asks for permission to accompany her, and Goda agrees. Shortly after, the group departs in the carriage the knights arrived in. At the same time, Christina decides to speak with her director because of her influence in the government, so she uses wind magic to boost herself and immediately rushes off. Back with Dolan, he talks to Selena and tells her not to worry. Since she is feeling nervous, Dolan gets closer and gently comforts her, which only makes her more flustered. In another scene, Christina arrives to see Olivia, who immediately understands why she came. Christina explains that Miral gave Selena her blessing to stay in Verum, so Olivia realizes that Selena is being taken to the capital under Kieran's orders. She explains that Kirain sees Selena as a threat to the kingdom and may even try to blame her for several disappearances happening in the region. This shocks Christina. Back with Dolan, the two are acting like a couple when suddenly the carriage stops, and a knight informs them that Goda wants to speak with them. The knight then leads them to him, where he tells them several things that are not revealed at that moment. Later, Goda brings them to Kirain. She welcomes them and asks Goda to prepare a report. Soon after, she takes them inside a house where a banquet has been prepared for them. For some reason, she acts much friendlier toward them. Meanwhile, Goda goes to meet the director and says they need to talk. Back with Dolan, he suddenly feels that something is off about Karen's behavior. However, by then, they have already eaten the food and they collapse unconscious, while Kieran, with a terrifying expression, says that she would like to consume the girl. Back with Goda, he explains that 300 years ago there was a being that could possess the bodies of other girls. This being used forbidden magic to transfer into others and live forever. Because of this, he believes that Selena may be in real danger, so he tells them they must go to them immediately. In another scene, Karen has Selena lying on a table and says that soon her body will be hers. Just as she is about to cut her, Dolan wakes up and says that the place smells like blood, meaning she has been doing this for a long time. Dolan asks how many girls she has killed, but she replies that she has lost count. Karen then admits that she uses the girls for her twisted experiments, treating them like trophies, and this is the reason why the woman still looks so young, as she has been responsible for the disappearance of all those women. She also confesses that she made a pact with a demon of Araignée, which is why she has parts from different beings, including the skin of an elf. At that moment, we see that Selena had been conscious the whole time. She stands beside Dolan and tells Kieran that it is very cruel to take advantage of other women like that. However, Kieran, showing no regret, says that she has made even better use of their beauty. Right after that, the guards arrive along with Olivia and the others. Olivia orders Kieran to be arrested, as they already know about her plans. Kieran tries to justify herself, saying that those women were born beautiful and could never understand her life. Then we are shown a memory from her childhood. She admired the beauty of the world, but unfortunately she was not born beautiful as she wished. Because of this, she turned to forbidden magic, and over time she began killing beautiful women to steal their charm. Back in the present, Kieran loses control and says that she will show them the results of around 300 years of research. At that moment, she transforms into a monster and immediately attacks everyone. Dolan notes that she seems to have combined parts from different beings using magic. Kieran declares that now all of them will become part of her beauty and tries to attack, but Selena uses her gaze to stop her for a moment. Selena moves in to attack, but Christina cuts off Kieran's fingers, refusing to let anyone harm her friends. Kieran then attacks Christina again, but Christina blocks all the attacks with her sword. Realizing she cannot defeat her, Kieran uses dark magic, shocking both Olivia and Goda. Dolan steps in and says that he will handle it from here. We also see that he has drawn a protective magic circle on the ground. Dolan asks Kieran if she is satisfied with everything she has done to those women. Seeing that she feels no remorse, he casts a celestial spell that defeats her instantly. The next day, Dolan and Selena are in a room at the academy. Christina arrives and asks how Selena's studies are going, as she has started learning some magic. Soon after, Olivia and Goda arrive and begin talking with them. We are then shown what Goda and the others discussed earlier before meeting Kieran. It turns out everything was part of a plan in which Dolan and Selena were used as bait. Goda then gives Selena official documents so she can live peacefully in the kingdom, which makes her very happy. On the other hand, Goda wants to speak with Dolan. In the next scene, they meet a man named Dinel, who is Muggle's eldest son. He tells them that Olivia informed him about everything that happened and invites them to take a walk around the city. But just then, a child drops an object and we see Selena trying to help him. However, it is clear that people in the city still look down on Lamius. Shortly after, Dolan and the girls begin to say goodbye to the others. Denel and Olivia invite Dolan to join the academy to further develop his magical abilities, since Olivia noticed his great power. However, Dolan refuses, as he prefers to protect the village of Verum. Denel tells him to take some time and think it over, since his magic could help many people. After that, they leave in a carriage. On their way back, Christina notices that Dolan looks thoughtful. Dolan tells her that he has been thinking about Denel's words, since he knows that Verum is a very small village that offers limited knowledge. While they talk about the academy, Selena looks a bit sad, knowing that if Dolan leaves, she will be completely alone. In another scene, a portal suddenly opens in the middle of the forest, and many demonic creatures come out of it, shocking an elf who was there. The creature kills the elf in a single blow, and another one arrives confused about what kind of beings they are. A little later, we see that the monsters have killed many elves. Soon after, other elves arrive and find one who is about to die. He tells them that a horde of monsters has appeared. After saying this, he dies, and the others decide that they should inform their leader. Back with Dolan, he is seen training with several children. Selena watches and feels sad, thinking that he might leave her alone. Christina then asks Dolan to accompany her to the forest, as they need to take some pigs to graze and eat the best acorns, but since there are many dangerous creatures, she asks for his help. Dolan agrees without hesitation, and soon they are seen walking through the forest. After arriving, the pigs begin to eat while Barong asks them to stand guard. However, one of the pigs wanders off, and one of the knights follows it. Suddenly, a spiked tiger appears and kills one of the pigs. Just as it is about to attack the knight, Barong saves him by defeating the creature with a single blow. But then one of the demonic creatures appears, and Dolan and the others hear a scream of pain. When they reach Barong, Dolan quickly defeats the monster. The group becomes worried, as they do not know what kind of creature it is, but Dolan explains that it is a demon from the demon realm. He adds that these demons are known as Certs, the weakest class since they are only scouts. However, Even if they are weak, they should not be underestimated because they are still quite dangerous. Dolan tells Christina that he will hold it in place so she can finish it. He then uses a wind spell, and after it hits the demon, Christina decapitates it in one strike. Dolan also tells Christina not to mention this to the villagers. A little later, the group gathers, clearly worried, when the village chief arrives. She informs them that Barang and the other knight are being treated by Mew and Mughal. She also mentions that it is not normal to see this type of creature in the forest. Mughal then appears and says that Barang has already woken up and is doing well, but she knows that the tiger was not the one who caused his injuries. Dolan asks for permission to investigate the forest, and after thinking for a moment, she agrees. However, she tells him that he must not go alone. Christina offers to go with him, but the chief refuses, saying she cannot risk anything happening to her. So Selena volunteers to go with Dolan, and everyone agrees. The next day, Selena and Dolan set out toward the Entei forest, and Dolan mentions that it has been a while since they were alone together. This makes Selena blush, but she reminds herself that she cannot lose focus. When they reach the entrance of the forest, they run into Christina, who tries to act casual and says she was just taking a walk. Because of that, they have no choice but to let her come along. Over the next few hours, the group spends their time defeating many Surts, but suddenly Christina warns them that a much more dangerous creature is in front of them. However, it turns out to be a group of monkeys that are actually quite friendly, so they end up sitting down to eat with them. While they are eating, Dolan thinks that these creatures were probably driven out of their original part of the forest, judging by their behavior. He assumes that, just like the giant spiders, they were forced to move, leading him to conclude that the forest is changing significantly. Suddenly, both Dolan and Selena notice how charming Christina looks. Selena then asks Christina for advice on how to become more charming and find a husband. However, Dolan tells her that she does not need any tricks, since she is already very cute and adorable. This makes Selena blush deeply and become completely captivated by his words, even interpreting them as if Dolan wants to be her husband, leaving her completely overwhelmed with feelings for him. Their moment is interrupted when they sense someone nearby. A wounded fairy appears in front of them and tells them to run, as many Surts suddenly appear behind her. They begin fighting them, but since two of the demons attack Dolan at once, he has no choice but to use his dragon transformation. After defeating all the demons, the fairy introduces herself as Marl and explains that the demon scouts had been chasing her. This makes Dolan think that much stronger demons might arrive soon. At that moment, the group senses many eyes watching them. Since they do not feel any hostility, they place their weapons on the ground as a sign that they do not want to fight. Soon, many elves emerge from the bushes where they were hiding. We are then introduced to an elf named Geo. The atmosphere becomes tense as he thanks them for saving Marl and asks what they are doing in the forest. After hearing their explanation, Geo tells them that it would be best for them to leave, since the elves are currently at war with the demons. Christina gets upset and grabs him by the shirt, as she is worried about them. Seeing her intentions, the elves calm down and understand that they only want to help. Dolan realizes that the demon army continues to appear, and if they do not intervene, even stronger monsters will emerge, since he believes that a portal between the forest and the underworld has opened. He also thinks that even if his identity as a dragon is revealed, he will not allow anyone else to die. Dolan tells Geo that he will help them, even if it means breaking the laws of the elves. A female elf named Fio also says that she understands the burden he carries as their leader, and that she does not care if those laws are broken as long as their people are safe. After thinking for a few seconds and seeing that the other elves agree, Geo finally accepts their help. Their conversation is interrupted when they hear and see a massive explosion of darkness. Dolan immediately realizes that it is too late, as the portal has fully opened. Right after that, several powerful demons emerge from it. Dolan uses wind magic to boost everyone and rush toward the village. Back with the demons, they sense the presence of several elves nearby and mention that they are waiting for another demon. While they wait, they plan to play with any living beings they find, meaning they intend to kill them. We are introduced to a red-haired demon named Raphracia, along with two others in heavy armor named Giolud and Jiring. In another scene, the elves are fighting in their village against many Surts. Soon after, Giolud arrives and introduces himself as one of the 4 demon knights. The elves immediately attack him, but he is far stronger and injures many of them with a single blow. Meanwhile, Dolan's group rushes toward the village at full speed. The spirits inform Geo that the village is being attacked from multiple directions. Back in the elf village, one of the elves is about to be killed when vines suddenly stop Geolude. A girl then appears, and we learn her name is Diodora. Returning to Dolan's group, they use several powerful spells to defeat many Surts. Geo is very impressed and says that he now trusts their strength even more. In another scene, Diodora tells the demon that he has committed many sins by entering the forest and declares that she will defeat him. However, just as she launches an attack with her plants, it is neutralized when Raffracia arrives. She introduces herself as one of the 4 demon knights and shows interest in Diodora's power. Diodora then calls upon all the flower spirits, but Raffracia says that on her way there, she already destroyed many of them. This enrages Diodora, and she attacks with all her strength. Raffracia easily dodges her attacks and claims that she only did her a favor, which angers Diodora even more. She unleashes a powerful attack, but Raffracia blocks it with a dark barrier. Raffracia then reveals that, like Diodora, she is also a flower spirit. However, unlike the flowers in the forest, she is a spirit from the demon realm that feeds on fresh blood. She explains that such beings grow stronger by feeding on life energy when others die. In other words, every time Diodora attacks her with plant whips, she is actually giving Raffracia more energy and power. Diodora becomes furious and launches another attack. This time, Raffracia becomes overconfident and the attack manages to cut her face slightly. Seeing her own blood for the first time, Raffracia becomes enraged and says that she will not forgive such an insult as she begins to gather a powerful dark aura fueled by her anger. However, Geolude gets tired of just watching and lands a powerful blow on Diodora. Raffracia follows up with another strike. Diodora thinks that she does not want to die without first avenging everyone. Just as the 2 demons move in to finish her off, they dodge an attack from Dolan, who lands right in front of them. Dolan then turns his back on Geolude, which enrages him, and he tries to attack. At that moment, Christina arrives and successfully defends Dolan. Raffracia also attempts to strike Dolan, but Geo stops her with an arrow. Right after that, the group is interrupted by a massive explosion of dark magic coming from the portal. This excites Raffracia, as it means that someone very powerful has arrived. Geolude says he will finish things before that individual reaches them, but he suddenly senses an overwhelming aura. It is Selena who arrives filled with anger after seeing how many elves have been killed, refusing to let it continue. Selena immediately casts a powerful spell, summoning many snakes to attack the demons. Raffracia sees this as her chance to eliminate Selena, but Dolan strikes her with a spell that sends her flying. At the same time, Diodora follows up with her plant whips, slamming her into the ground. Meanwhile, Selena manages to trap Geolude with a giant serpent. Dolan tells her that he will take over from here and summons a divine spear, but he is forced to redirect it because of an incoming attack. At that moment, another demon named Harem arrives. Geolude gets angry and claims that Selena is his prey. Harem tries to attack her, but Christina blocks the strike. The demon finds Christina interesting, and she activates the magic of her sword. Their battle begins, and Christina manages to land a hit on him. On the other side, Selena tries to defeat Jering, but her attacks do not harm him. He tells her that even though she is powerful, her hesitation to kill weakens her attacks. He then launches a strike, but Dolan blocks it in time. Suddenly, everyone is shocked as another presence approaches. The 4th demon knight appears, known as George. He is impressed by Dolan's group, as they are causing significant damage despite being human. He prepares to fight, and Dolan immediately charges at him. After exchanging several blows, George says that Dolan's aura and name feel very familiar. Dolan also realizes that George is different from the others, as he senses a divine aura within him. He then asks if George was once a god. George becomes intrigued and concludes that Dolan must also be hiding his true identity, since humans should not be able to sense divine aura. Dolan responds that he has no intention of revealing who he truly is. He knows that he will need to use his dragon form to defeat George, but he does not want his companions to find out. The battle continues, and Raffracia and Geolude launch a surprise attack on Dolan. However, he uses part of his dragon power to counter them. George then says that he knew a surprise attack would not be enough to harm him, and he begins gathering dark mana to unleash a high-level spell. He tells Dolan that if he survives that attack, it will prove that he is an extremely powerful human. In the end, George unleashes one of his strongest attacks, called the 3 demonic light swords. When he launches it at Dolan, Dolan remains completely calm. He uses his sword to block the attack, and after doing so, the spell disappears. The demon is fascinated by Dolan, but he realizes that Dolan is not fighting seriously because of the collateral damage it could cause, knowing that he values human lives. Because of this, George suddenly stops the battle and announces that the full demon army will return in 3 days. He tells them to decide whether they will join them or not. After saying this, the demons leave. The girls are left very worried about Dolan and have many questions, but he knows he must speak with the others first. Soon after, Gio leads the group to the leader of the elves. There, they meet an elder named Dio, as well as Black and Sienne. Dolan assumes that the other two are leaders of different tribes. Dio tells Dolan that he knows he is far stronger than ordinary humans and that they need insight from someone who has experience with humans. At that moment, Olivia arrives. She thanks Dolan again for helping them and explains that she is an elf who was born there, and after learning what was happening, she decided to return. After that, Dio continues speaking and says that the next day they will gather all possible fighters, as they plan to destroy the demon portal. Black and Alanane add that the demons gain energy from the portal, so destroying it would cut off their source of power. They also mention that the damaged part of the forest will eventually recover over time. Dolan says that they have already spoken with Gio and will continue supporting the elves. Black and Sienne insist that Dio must accept all the help they can get, as they are facing a powerful enemy. Dio agrees and thanks Dolan's group for their support, saying that he hopes to count on them in the upcoming battles. Olivia then adds that they are all trustworthy and mentions that she has requested reinforcements from the kingdom, although they will take some time to arrive at the elf city. Dolan knows that everyone is deeply affected by the demon attack, so he decides that he will help them no matter what. In another scene, 2 of the 4 demon knights are seen furious, killing several Surts out of anger and humiliation from their previous battle. George says he has no problem with this, as it helps maintain their fighting spirit. He also admits that he is eager to fight again, since Dolan has caught his interest. We are then shown a memory of George when he was part of the army of Artis. He recalls seeing an ancient dragon summoned by the goddess Morali, a dragon that once slaughtered many demons. Because of this, he now recognizes Dolan's aura, even in his human form. Back with Dolan, he approaches Diodora to talk. She does not seem pleased and asks if she is not strong enough to fight by his side. Dolan knows she is still injured from Raffratia's attack, so he uses healing magic to treat her wounds. Diodora tells him that the spirits of the flowers are grieving since many of them were killed by the demons. Because of this, she only thinks about avenging them. Dolan offers to help her seek that revenge, and she feels relieved after speaking with him. After saying this, she leaves the place. Shortly after, Dolan returns to the girls, and they serve him food. While Dolan is eating, the girls start talking about Christina's body, as Selena clearly envies her curves. However, the elf Fio tells them that she is actually the one they should envy, since both of them have very large chests. Still, since Dolan is right there, they quickly change the topic. A few hours later, the group goes to sleep, but Dolan notices that Selena is not in bed. He goes outside to get some fresh air and realizes that she is still awake. He approaches her and notices that her hand is trembling slightly, so he understands that she is afraid of the battle that will take place the next day. After that, they both admire the view of the elf village and are amazed, knowing that the elves have lived in harmony with nature for thousands of years. Dolan sits beside her and tells her that he knows she is nervous about the upcoming fight. However, Selena tells him that she is not afraid of the battle itself and confesses that she could have defeated the demon before. Even so, she admits that she did not have the courage to kill it, even knowing that her friends were in danger. She confesses that she is not capable of taking someone's life, which caused her to freeze at that moment. Selena also says that she knows she needs to change her personality, but Dolan tells her that she is very different from the lamias in the stories, who are usually portrayed as cold and merciless. Hearing this, Selena blushes, as Dolan tells her that she does not need to change at all and that he likes her just the way she is. After that, Dolan gives her a magical crystal to help keep her safe in battle. Selena becomes very happy with him. At that moment, Christina appears and throws a blanket over them, saying that if they stay outside, they might catch a cold. The two invite her to stay and admire the view with them. Christina says that she will defeat anyone who threatens the beautiful village. These words motivate Selena, who says that next time she will not hesitate to defeat anyone who threatens her friends. After that, the group goes to sleep. The next day, Gio gives a motivational speech to all the warriors who will go into battle. As the army heads toward the portal, we see that Dolan's group and the elves have already planned their attack. Soon after, Selena gets off the carriage and tells Dolan that she will go support Gio's group, and they agree before continuing their journey. In another scene, the demons prepare to face the army. We also discover that there is more than one portal, as the demons are divided to guard each one. Finally, Diodora confronts Raffracia and declares that she will defeat her. Meanwhile, the elves reach one of the portals and begin attacking Jering. A spell is cast above him, and many rocks fall onto him. At that moment, Selena appears to support Gio. Jering breaks free from the rocks and realizes that compared to the previous day, Selena has become much stronger. In another scene, Christina and Dolan continue heading toward the main portal. Christina looks worried about Selena, but Dolan reassures her, saying that she will be fine because he gave her a magical crystal that will help her in battle. Right after that, Christina tells Dolan to get off the carriage so he can attack one of the portals, while she will head to another. Soon after, she arrives at the portal where Geolude is. She tells the surrounding creatures to run away as quickly as possible because she will be Geolude's opponent. The demon says that he would have preferred to fight Dolan, but Christina immediately activates her sword's magic and prepares for battle. After exchanging several blows, Geolude realizes that she is quite strong. Meanwhile, Dolan runs forward, thinking that he must prevent as much collateral damage as possible. On the other side, Diodora is seen defeating several Certs. She tells Raffracia that she is tired of her avoiding a real fight, so Raffracia agrees, and they trap themselves inside a cocoon-like barrier so no one can interfere. Raffracia begins to summon a dark aura around her, while Diodora uses a wind ability to try to disperse it. However, Raffracia attacks using the souls she absorbed from the forest, striking Diodora without difficulty. She reveals that she can absorb souls and use them to attack. Diodora refuses to play along with her and summons multiple roots with black roses. Soon after, she also releases a dark aura, revealing that she had sealed this power long ago, but now has no choice but to use it. This excites Raffracia, as she believes they can now fight on equal terms. Both of them clash with their dark auras, but Raffracia proves to be far superior as she begins absorbing Diodora's life energy. Confident, Raffracia tells her that it is sad she will die alone without saying goodbye to her friends. However, Diodora tells her to enjoy that life energy, as it will be the last she takes. At that moment, roses begin to grow out of Raffracia's body, along with vines that start to bind her. Diodora reveals that when she cut her cheek earlier, she planted a seed inside her, something Raffracia never expected. The vines tighten around Raffracia until she is finally defeated. Diodora wins the battle, but she becomes so weak that she cannot even move. As many Certs begin to surround her, Dolan suddenly appears and defeats all the monsters with a single attack. In another scene, Selena is shown stuck against a tree, severely injured. Back with Dolan, he creates a healing and protection circle around Diodora. Then Dolan reveals to her that he is a dragon reincarnated in a human body. He tells her to stay and continue healing while he goes to help the others. Diodora insists on going with him, but Dolan refuses and tells her to rest. After saying this, he leaves immediately. Meanwhile, the elves manage to help Selena. They remove a stake that was embedded in her body, and thanks to the magical crystal Dolan gave her, she heals right away. Theo tells her to run as fast as possible, but Selena refuses because she does not want to leave the others to die. We then move to Christina, who is still fighting Geolude. She manages to land several cuts on him, but the demon has regeneration abilities. At that moment, Geolude tells her that she is a superhuman, which confuses her. He explains that from time to time, humans are born with extraordinary abilities and powerful magic. He also mentions that these superhumans have been rivals of demons for a long time. He adds that such individuals are capable of defeating demons and even fallen gods, and reveals that a superhuman was responsible for killing Dolan in his previous life as an ancient dragon. While they talk, Dolan finally arrives to face George, who had been waiting for him. On the other side, Geolude's words motivate Christina. She realizes that superhumans are legendary figures from stories, and that she is one of them. This realization gives her even more strength, allowing her to land multiple powerful blows. Geolude now understands how Dolan felt when he once faced a hero like her. After saying this, Christina delivers a final thrust that decapitates him, defeating the demon instantly. Back with Dolan, George tells him that he has long wanted to fight him ever since he saw him battle his master Artus, also known as the God of War. Dolan replies that, knowing his past, he does not understand why he would challenge him. George admits that he simply loves fighting, as it is part of his nature. Finally, George recognizes that Dolan cannot fight at full strength in the forest, so he invites him to the underworld where they can battle without restrictions. Dolan accepts, and the two of them enter the portal. Soon after, they arrive in the underworld. In another scene, Fio takes Selena away from the battlefield. After Fio leaves, Selena begins to cry, as she does not want to abandon any of her friends. Deep in her heart, she feels that she was never meant to fight others, since she has always been kind and gentle. Meanwhile, Gio's group continues fighting against Jering. They are unable to deal any damage to him, so the demon transforms his body into whip-like weapons with sharp tips, and attacks them. Selena hears the cries of pain from the elves and feels completely helpless. She looks at the magical crystal Dolan gave her and asks it to give her the strength to fight. At that moment, the crystal begins to glow. In another scene, the demon has Gio trapped and is about to finish him off when chains suddenly bind him. Selena has returned to fight after finding her resolve. The demon becomes excited, saying that this is the attitude he wanted to see from her. He attacks her, but she counters with several powerful abilities that strike him directly. Everyone is surprised, and Selena tells them to leave immediately as a large amount of mana is flowing through her. Jering, thrilled, says he will also fight with full strength. At that moment, Selena uses her gaze ability and manages to control him briefly. He is shocked, as he did not expect it to work on him. She then summons her serpents and attacks without hesitation. Soon after, the crystal Dolan gave her begins to glow again, transforming her giant serpents into a dragon that defeats the demon in a single strike. Back with Dolan, he begins transforming parts of his body into those of a dragon. The demon is astonished and declares that Dolan is one of the 7 primordial dragons. He also says that even the demons feared him more than the cursed gods. George, still confident, says that his sword will defeat Dolan, but when he attacks, Dolan blocks it effortlessly. This forces George to cast a powerful spell combining earth and wind, which Dolan also blocks with ease. George then thinks that it was worth waiting all this time for this battle. Back with Selena's group, they regroup with the others and learn that Dolan has gone to the underworld. Meanwhile, Dio's group arrives at the portal where Olivia is, and she tells them that Dolan crossed over with the demon. Sienna suggests destroying the portal, but Black and the others refuse since Dolan is still inside. Back in the underworld, Dolan and George continue fighting, and Dolan lands a powerful punch that sends him flying. It is clear that Dolan remains calm, despite facing such a high-ranking demon. George realizes that Dolan is starting to take the fight seriously as he begins to push his limits. Outside the portal, the group argues about whether they should destroy it to protect the forest. However, Selena and Christina refuse, believing that Dolan will win. Their words do not fully convince Dio. Suddenly, Diodora supports Selena and tells everyone that if they destroy the portal now, they will regret it for the rest of their lives. Yu also supports their words and says that if they leave Dolan in the underworld, it would be the same as losing to the demons. Seeing that most of them agree to wait, Dio and Sienna have no choice but to trust Dolan. Back with Dolan, George begins to show signs of desperation. He unleashes an attack of 1,000 dark slashes, which Dolan dodges before countering with a powerful beam. The demon declares that he will cut him into pieces, but in response, Dolan starts severing his limbs and finally finishes him off with his sword, splitting him in 2. Just before disappearing, Dolan says that George fought very similarly to the god of war, Ardes. These words fill the demon with pride, and he replies that he fought with everything he had. After saying this, George fades away. While Dolan bids farewell to his soul, a mysterious girl watches him from afar. She says that she has finally found him and wants to play with him again. Soon after, Dolan exits the portal and is immediately embraced by Selena. The elves then destroy the portal, and a celebration begins for their victory. Dolan tells Gio that he did not expect them to throw a party, but Gio replies that even though they are rebuilding, they could not let them leave without a proper farewell. They are interrupted when Fio tells Dolan that she dressed the girls in traditional outfits. Both girls become nervous as Dolan keeps looking at them. Acting like a true charmer, Dolan says that just seeing them dressed so beautifully is already a reward for him. Soon after, one of the girls takes Christina away, and Fio gives Dolan a hint, saying she already knows what to do. Dolan then invites Selena to dance. While they dance, Selena, with a loving gaze, tells him that everything was thanks to him. It is also clear that Dolan is quite clueless, as he does not realize that she is deeply in love with him. Later on, Selena falls asleep on Dolan's lap, completely drunk. Suddenly, Dolan hears singing and follows the sound. When he arrives, he finds Christina singing a song about a hero and a dragon. Dolan applauds her enthusiastically, impressed by her singing. Christina explains that the song has been passed down through generations in her family. Since she did not finish it, Dolan asks what happened after the dragon was defeated. Christina replies that the song ends there, but adds that afterward, the hero, his companions, and the white dragon defeated the evil dragon together, and that is simply how the story ends. The next day, Olivia says goodbye to the group and thanks them again for their help. Diodora gives them black rose seeds which can be used in potions. At that moment, everyone is left in shock because in addition to the seeds, Diodora kisses Dolan as a thank you for saving her life. This clearly makes Selena act jealous, saying that even she has not reached that point yet. After several hours, the group finally returns to Verum. Dolan heads straight to his house, but suddenly someone pierces his chest, causing him to fall to the ground. The next day, however, he wakes up in his bed as if nothing had happened. He then goes to check his crops, and at that moment Selena arrives. Dolan begins explaining that all dragons originate from a single dragon, known as the progenitor dragon. It was the first being born at the creation of the world. Seeing that it was alone, it split its body and created other dragons. From its tail came a destructive dragon named Hyperion. From its wings came a very fast dragon named Vitra, and from its eyes came one called Jormungand. From its fangs came Alexander the Piercer, and from one of its limbs came the Eternal Dragon, also known as Leviathan. From its head came Bajamud, and finally, from its heart and soul, a dragon was born who would rule over all the others. We then see that Dolan is telling this story to several children and adults in the village. He believes that the last dragon mentioned was actually himself in his previous life. The children leave excited after hearing his story. At that moment, Diodora is also present and is fascinated, clearly seeing how much the children adore him. Shortly after, the group walks through the market, and it is revealed that creatures from the Entei forest now come to trade with them. Later, they sit down to have lunch, and Selena mentions that they need to meet Baran because they have a task to complete. After a few hours, Selena and Dolan head out with Baran's group. While carrying out their task, they discover armored bears inside a cave. Without hesitation, Selena summons her serpent powers and drives the bears out so the group can finish them off. Dolan steps in and tells them that such violence was unnecessary since the forest is peaceful and the bears were not attacking anyone. However, the behavior of the group, including Selena, seems a bit strange. A little later, Dolan is looking over the fields when Ari arrives. She tells him not to look at the place too much because everyone will soon leave the village. Dolan is confused, and Ari explains that Mugel made the decision. Still shocked, Dolan immediately goes to the village council and questions them, saying it is not right to make such a decision so suddenly. The village chief replies that they will not prosper if they remain there. Mugel then adds that Dolan is the only one who sees the village with a sense of attachment and affection. However, we see that the people continue behaving very strangely. The next day, Dolan says goodbye to some villagers, but they do not allow him to touch their child. So he goes to Mugel, who is packing her things. Ari tells him that he should leave as well, because if everyone goes, he will be left in an empty place. A little later, everyone starts leaving in their carriages, and we even see Dolan's parents departing. They ask him one last time to come with them, but Dolan refuses to leave. After saying goodbye to his mother, they leave immediately. Christina then appears and tells him that he is the only crazy one who wants to stay in the village, but Dolan replies that he will stay no matter what happens. This is because he has a deep attachment to the village, since he grew up there. After finishing their conversation, he heads to Selena's house, where she has prepared soup for him. While they are eating, Dolan seems a bit down. Suddenly, they hear an explosion coming from his house. When they arrive, they realize that Christina is the one who set his house on fire, along with several others who helped her. Christina explains that they burned his house because Dolan is bound to it, but he tells her that even if they burn his house, he still will not leave the village. She then threatens to burn the fields, but Dolan immediately stops her. Unexpectedly, Selena appears with her belongings, saying that she is ready to leave. This causes Dolan to panic, wondering what is happening. He tries to convince her to stay, but Christina tells him to stop crying and understand that no one wants to live with him anymore because he can no longer pretend that he is human. Dolan begins to fall into despair, thinking that his entire new life was spent caring for and protecting the village. A voice in his head tells him that he should never have pretended to be human, since he was not one. After all, in his past life as an ancient dragon, he lived much of his life completely alone. Suddenly, Dolan wakes up in his original dragon form and wonders if everything he experienced was just a dream. He even questions whether the hero who pierced his chest was real. A female voice in his head starts making him feel miserable about his life, pushing him to believe that everything was nothing more than a dream. They are interrupted when Selena appears before him, and the mysterious voice wonders how she managed to reach that place. At that moment, Selena tells him that she knows he is Noland. Hearing this calms him, and the darkness around them begins to disappear. Selena reminds him of all the good memories they shared in Verum, and becomes emotional upon seeing him. Dolan lifts her in his hand and she jumps to hug him, offering words of encouragement and thanking him for coming into her life. However, Dolan tells her that he should be the one thanking her for entering the lonely life of a dragon. Selena then tells him that he is dreaming, and Dolan replies that when she wakes up, she should come visit him. After saying this, she slowly fades away. At that moment, Dolan begins speaking with the woman whose voice he has been hearing. He seems to recognize her, calling her a fallen deity, and also the goddess of destruction. We then learn her name, Calavid, and that she is his greatest enemy. Dolan quickly realizes that everything around him is a nightmare and believes that the goddess has appeared because she intends to kill him. Calavid congratulates him for figuring it out and confirms that she has come to end his life. Dolan asks why she showed him such a terrible nightmare. She replies that in his past life he gave up too easily, abandoning all the humans, gods, and dragons under his care, including her. She questions why he now wants to live a peaceful life. Dolan agrees with her, but explains that his life is now completely different. His human family taught him something he never learned as a dragon: the determination to face any obstacle and never give up. He declares that he vowed to make the most of his new life as a human, even while carrying the soul of a dragon. Calavid responds that his words sound nice, but she will not let him go so easily, since this is not a world created by someone else. She then summons one of the dragons that once gave Dolan great trouble in his past life. However, Dolan grows tired of her and launches both of them into the air before punching the dragon and destroying it in a single blow. Just as he is about to finish her, she begs for mercy, admitting that she thought he would be much weaker after being reborn. Dolan tells her that he understands his strength only exists at this moment, and that if he reincarnates again, his soul might shatter. She asks if this is because of the curse of the fallen gods, and Dolan confirms it, explaining that after so many reincarnations, his soul could eventually disappear completely. Instead of feeling happy about the possibility that Dolan might die, the girl tells him that deep down she sees him as a friend. Dolan replies that despite all the trouble she caused when she was a goddess, he also considers her a friend. After saying this, she begins to leave and tells him that they will meet again very soon to play once more. Soon after, the place fades away, and Dolan wakes up in his bed. Selena arrives and asks if he fell asleep. Dolan tells her that he just had a dream that made him sleep longer than usual. To confirm that he is back in reality, Dolan asks her what she would do if she encountered armored bears, wanting to see if she would act the same way as in his nightmare. Selena replies that she would probably use her cursed eyes to scare the creatures away, since she would not be able to fight them. This makes Dolan burst into laughter. Shortly after, they go to Christina, and Dolan tells her that he has decided to go to the capital's magic academy. Christina asks why he is suddenly interested in the academy, and Dolan explains that he had a dream where he saw the end of Verum village. At that moment, Dolan reveals what truly happened, saying that it all felt very real, and that he does not want to risk the lives of the people he cares about. He also recalls Densel's words about protecting the ones he loves, which is why he has decided to learn more about magic. While they are talking, Selena looks unhappy with his decision, knowing that he will leave her alone. The next day, Dolan prepares to depart, as he first needs to take an entrance exam and will return soon. Even so, Selena is still very worried. After a few hours, Dolan is seen taking the entrance exam. At the same time, we notice that Calavid is present there as a spirit. Dolan asks what she is doing there, and she jokingly replies that she is there for love, since Dolan has his eyes closed while speaking telepathically with her. The teacher scolds him. The teacher says he seems too confident, takes away his exam, and tells him that he will have his practical test the next day. In another scene, Baran's group is searching for monsters when Ari and Albert start arguing. Baran immediately silences them to avoid attracting monsters. They then hurry Selena, who was behind them, but realizing there are monsters nearby, she summons her giant serpent, nearly injuring her own companions. Selena immediately apologizes to them, and the others ask how much Dolan's departure has affected her, since she has seemed very down since then. Ari talks with Albert, and they mention that if Dolan passes the exam, he will not return for 2 years. They also say that he might find a job and stay in the capital. Later that night, Selena is seen sitting and reading a book. She thinks about how she learned to read thanks to Dolan, and believes that just like her, he will learn many things to protect the village. At that moment, she realizes that she is in love with him, as she cannot stop thinking about her lamia traditions, which involve taking her future husband to her village. However, she understands that if something were to happen between them, she would not be able to leave because of her love for Verum. In the end, she says that she would be very happy if she were by Dolan's side, but she also mentions that she has enjoyed her time in Verum very much. We then see her pack the book into her bag. In another scene, Dolan talks with Denzel as he wants to ask him for a big favor, though it is not revealed at that moment. The next day, Dolan returns to the village and heads to Selena's house. When she does not come out, he decides to enter and finds the place completely empty. He also notices that there is a letter for him and another for the village. In the letter, Selena thanks everyone for welcoming her and says goodbye to her friends. She also states that she will continue her journey in search of her future husband. Dolan immediately runs out to look for her. Meanwhile, Selena thinks that she did not have the courage to say goodbye to them in person. Dolan, desperate, searches for her, and when he cannot find her, he transforms into his dragon form and flies off to look for her. After a few hours, Selena is resting under a tree when she suddenly notices something flying above her. Frightened, she hides and wonders if it might be one of the dragons Dolan told her about. At that moment, Dolan appears behind her, causing her to scream in fear. Soon after, Dolan takes her to a lake, and both of them are amazed by the natural resources around it. Suddenly, they see many earth spirits flying over the lake. Selena asks Dolan if the lizards have returned, but he replies that after everything that happened, he does not think that will be the case. While they are talking, Selena looks very happy to be with Dolan again. At that moment, Dolan apologizes for applying to the academy so suddenly and says that he should have talked about it with her first. He then reveals that he spoke with Denzel the night before. Denzel told him that he could bring a family member with him, but first he would need to form a pact with that person. Because of this, Dolan offers Selena the chance to go with him to the academy. She is shocked and a bit upset, telling him that lamias eat people and that others would look down on him for being with one of them. Dolan assures her that he will not allow anyone to treat her badly. As he moves closer to her, both of them accidentally slip and fall into the lake. After exchanging a few words, Dolan tells her that he wants to build a new world together with her. These words make Selena cry with happiness. She hugs him and says that she also wants to go with him. The next day, Denzel arrives at the village and gives Dolan the results of the exam. Dolan excitedly learns that he passed. Soon after, he and Selena go to see Mujel. The old woman creates a family pact between them, causing a mark to appear on Selena's chest. The following day, Dolan says goodbye to everyone in the village. As the carriage departs, he shouts that if anything happens to the village, he will return immediately to protect them. Later, while traveling in the carriage, Selena is left in shock as she recalls Dolan's words from the previous night, realizing that they sounded like a marriage proposal. Finally, Dolan tells Selena that if she never gets tired of him, he would like to visit her village someday. This makes her extremely happy, and those words completely brighten her mood.